Well, Sam, that's very interesting that the root is Natsar. Is there anywhere in the Old Testament where you see that?
Well, as a matter of fact, there is. And we're going to go straight over to Isaiah 11, verse 1. So here it is. Isaiah 11, verse 1, and we're still in Strong's, but that's okay. I'm just going to read it here. And there shall come forth a rod out of the stem of Jesse. Now, straight away, given the genealogy that we've looked into in Matthew, we know who this is.
Hmm.
And a branch shall grow out of his roots. So we've just been talking about the birth of Jesus. Could that be the branch that has grown out of his roots? Well, let's take a look at this word branch here in H5342. And here it is. If you recollect how the root for Nazareth displayed, you can see here Natsar. It's identical. It's identical from 5341. So let's first read here what the meaning of branch is in the sense of greenness as a striking color, a shoot. Now notice this, it doesn't mean to shoot a gun, it means a shoot from a plant here, figuratively a descendant. Hence the single word translation, everywhere we see this word in the Old Testament, it's translated a branch. And so this is, first of all, the shoot out of his roots, out of Jesse's roots, which becomes the branch. And of course, this is referring to Christ. So we're going to go over to 5341 because that is the root. In other words, this is the basic meaning of this word. And here we have, again, notice the pronunciation. We have the T here, Natsar, Natsar, a primitive root. And here's the meaning: to guard in a good sense, to protect, maintain. And notice this word, because we're going to come back to this in a bit, obey, or in a bad sense, to conceal, etc. One of the keys to understanding biblical Hebrew, that a word can have a positive and a negative meaning. Of course, when it comes to Christ, it's the positive meaning. So he's a protector. He's the one who maintains, or as we say today, sustains. And of course, as we know, he was obedient, and that's what we're going to see. But here is how the King James translators rendered this word: besieged, hidden thing, keep. Now, I want you to keep in mind the word that it's a keeper, monument. Also, observe. Keep in mind the word observe. Preserve, subtle. That's an interesting word, subtle. Keep that in mind. And a watcher or a watchman. And you can see, and we're not going to get into it here, but most of these, in fact, all of these words refer to Jesus Christ, refer to aspects of his ministry of Christ here. And this is what it's referring to when it talks about Natsar in the prophecy in Matthew 2 and verse 23.
Uncover the mystery of Adam and Eve's nakedness. Unravel the ambiguous connection between the Hebrew term for naked and the serpent's subtlety. Join us for this free mini-course and gain a profound new perspective on biblical Hebrew. TheExplanation.com/naked